Nestled in the rolling hills of Oregon, Lakeview Lane was the kind of place people moved to escape the chaos of city life. Tree-lined streets, cozy bungalows, and a tight-knit community painted a picture of suburban bliss. But in the summer of 2018, this tranquil facade was shattered by the disappearance of Emily Carter, a 32-year-old nurse and single mother to 8-year-old Lily. What began as a missing persons case spiraled into a web of deception, betrayal, and unanswered questions that still haunt the town today. July 14th, 2018, started like any other day for Emily. She kissed Lily goodbye in the morning, leaving her with a neighbor, Mrs. Helen Dorsey, for the day, while she worked her shift at St. Mary's Hospital. Colleagues described her as cheerful that day, chatting about plans to take Lily camping the next weekend. At 6:45 p.m., she clocked out, texting Helen, "Leaving now, be home by 7:30. She also sent a cryptic message to her friend Anna. "Need to handle something quick. Talk later. Dot." Need to handle something quick. Talk later. July 14th, 2018, started like any other day for Emily. She kissed Lily goodbye in the morning, leaving her with a neighbor, Mrs. Helen Dorsey, for the day while she worked her shift at St. Mary's Hospital. Colleagues described her as cheerful that day, chatting with Mrs. Helen, for the day. By 8 p.m., Helen grew anxious. Emily was never late without calling. She dialed Emily's phone, but it went straight to voicemail. At 9:30 p.m., Helen contacted the police. The next morning, a jogger spotted Emily's blue Toyota Corolla abandoned on Highway 47, 8 miles from home. The car was unlocked, keys in the ignition, purse and phone inside. A single muddy boot print, size 11, marked the gravel nearby. And a faint tire track suggested another vehicle had been there. The scene was eerily still. No blood, no struggle, just silence. Detective Sarah Monroe, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for tenacity, took charge. Early leads pointed to Emily's ex-boyfriend, Mark Grayson, a volatile mechanic who'd argued with her over custody of Lily weeks prior. Mark swore he was at Rusty's Tavern all night, corroborated by 3 regulars, though one later admitted he'd been too drunk to be sure. Attention then shifted to Thomas Reed, a 54-year-old loner who lived across from Emily. Neighbors report weeks passed with no breakthroughs. Lily, now staying with her grandparents, drew pictures of Mommy with the Shadow Man, sparking rumors of an unknown figure. Then, on August 22nd, a fisherman pulled a soaked leather glove from the Clackamas River, 15 miles downstream from the car. Tests confirmed Emily's DNA on it, along with traces of an unidentified male's. The river was searched, but its swift currents yielded nothing more. In September, a co-worker, Dr. James Keller, came under scrutiny. A charismatic surgeon, Keller had been unusually attentive to Emily at work. Often offering her rides home, she declined. Hospital logs showed he'd left 20 minutes after her on July 14th, claiming he'd gone straight home. His wife, however, told police he didn't return until 11 p.m., and his car, a black SUV, matched the tire tracks near Emily's Corolla. A search of Keller's home found a muddy pair of size 11 boots, but he insisted they were for hiking. Meanwhile, a gas station clerk 40 miles away turned over a security tape from that night. At 11:07 p.m., Emily appeared, alive, buying a soda. A tall man in a hoodie stood close behind her, his face hidden. She looked tense, her hands trembling as she paid. The man's posture suggested control. His hand hovered near her back. Experts couldn't ID him, but his build didn't quite match Keller or Reed. In November, an anonymous tip led police back to Thomas Reed. A second raid uncovered a concealed basement beneath his garage, accessible only through a trapdoor. Inside was a makeshift cell, a cot, a sink, and a locked metal box. The box held women's clothing, a locket engraved with EC, and a Polaroid of Emily, gagged and bound, dated July 16th, 2 days after she vanished. Reed's journal described Reed was arrested, but cracks in his story emerged. The gas station footage predated his alleged timeline. How could she be there if he still held her? Detectives suspected a second person was involved. Focus returned to Keller, whose SUV had traces of river mud in its wheel wells. Confronted, Keller admitted to an affair with Emily, saying she'd met him that night to end it. He claimed she left alive, but his alibi unraveled when his wife revealed he'd burned clothes in their backyard days later. In 2020, Reed was convicted of kidnapping, sentenced to life. Keller faced lesser charges of obstruction, serving 2 years after a plea deal. Yet the case remains unsolved. No body was ever found, fueling theories. Did Emily drown, escaping Reed? Did Keller kill her in a rage and dispose of her? Or did she orchestrate her own vanishing, using the chaos to disappear? The gas station tape suggests she survived longer than either man admitted, and Lily's drawings of the Shadow Man hint at a third player never caught. Lakeview Lane is quieter now, its residents wary of every stranger. Lily, nearing 16, keeps a box of her mother's things, whispering, "She's out there." The truth, like Emily, remains lost in the shadows.